Captain Marcus Walsh stood at the helm of the International Space Ship Endeavour, humanity's most advanced deep space vessel. The ship's quantum engines hummed quietly as they approached the mysterious signal source that had brought them to the edge of the Carina Nebula. After 6 months of careful navigation through uncharted space, they were about to make history. "Captain, energy signature intensifying at bearing 047, reported Lieutenant Raj Patel from the sensor station. "Whatever it is, it's massive." Walsh's steel-gray eyes narrowed as the main viewscreen adjusted to reveal a stunning sight, an enormous structure that seemed to defy physics itself, its surface rippling with patterns of light that resembled the aurora borealis. The station was clearly artificial, its geometric precision too perfect to be natural. "All stations, yellow alert," Walsh commanded, his deep voice steady despite the excitement coursing through his veins. "Dar. Olivia Santos, prepare the first contact protocols." Dr. Santos, the ship's xenolinguist, was already working at her station, dark fingers flying across multiple holographic displays. "First contact package ready, Captain. Mathematical sequences, atomic structures, and basic human biological data all formatted for broadcast." The bridge crew held their breath as the transmission was sent. Minutes stretched into hours as they waited for a response. Walsh maintained his composure, though his heart pounded with each passing moment. This was what they had trained for, humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization. The response, when it came, stunned them all. "Greetings, travelers from Earth," a melodious voice echoed through the bridge speakers in perfect English. "We are the Navari, and we have been expecting you." The main screen shifted to show a being that seemed almost ethereal, tall and graceful, with crystalline skin that refracted light like a living prism. Its 4 arms moved with fluid grace as it gestured, and its large, compound eyes seemed to hold ancient wisdom. "I am Sovereign Telera," the being continued. "We have monitored your species' development for some time. Your achievement in reaching us demonstrates your readiness for greater galactic communion. Over the next 3 weeks, the Navari shared knowledge beyond humanity's wildest dreams. They invited the Endeavour's crew aboard their station, where Walsh and his team witnessed technological marvels that bordered on magic. Medical techniques that could cure any disease, energy systems that could power entire planets, and transportation methods that could bridge galaxies in moments. The Navari seemed particularly fascinated by human art, music, and literature. They spent hours discussing Earth's cultures with Dr. Santos, their crystalline forms shimmering with what appeared to be delight at each new discovery about humanity. "Your species possesses something unique," Telera told Walsh during one of their many conversations. "A creativity that defies conventional patterns. It is refreshing." But on the 23rd day, everything changed. Walsh was awakened by the ship's red alert klaxons. He rushed to the bridge, still pulling on his uniform jacket, to find chaos. The Navari station had deployed dozens of smaller vessels that now surrounded the Endeavour, their weapons charged. "Sovereign Telera," Walsh called over the comm channel, "there must be some mistake." "There is no mistake, Captain Walsh," Telera's voice had lost all its warmth. "We have completed our analysis of your species. Your potential for growth is concerning. The probability calculations indicate that allowing humanity to advance further would introduce an unacceptable level of chaos into the galactic order." The first shot came without warning, striking the Endeavour's starboard engine. The ship shuddered violently as alarms blared throughout every deck. "Return fire," Walsh ordered, but the Navari weapons were too advanced. Each blast systematically disabled another of the Endeavour's systems. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7. Lieutenant Patel shouted over the chaos. "We're losing life support." Walsh made the only decision he could. "All hands, abandon ship. Emergency Protocol Omega. Get to the escape pods." He turned to his communications officer. "Lieutenant Park, encrypt all sensor data and diplomatic logs. Set it to broadcast on all frequencies. Earth needs to know what happened here. As crew members rushed to evacuation stations, Walsh remained on the bridge, coordinating the escape pod launches. He watched the tactical display as pod after pod ejected into space, many of them immediately targeted by Navari weapons. The ship's structural integrity was failing. Walsh knew he had only moments left. He input the final commands into his console, initiating the Endeavour's self-destruct sequence. If the Navari wanted to study human technology, they would have to work for it. As his pod launched into the void, Walsh watched through the viewport as the Endeavour erupted in a massive antimatter explosion, taking 3 Navari vessels with it. Of the original crew of 287, only 42 pods had managed to escape. The journey back to Earth would take months at sublight speed, but Walsh swore that humanity would not take this betrayal lying down. The Navari had made a critical mistake. They had given humanity a glimpse of what was possible, then tried to destroy them out of fear of what they might become. They would soon learn why that fear was justified. In his pod's small command center, Walsh recorded what would become a historic message: to all nations of Earth, we have made contact with an advanced alien civilization known as the Navari. They shared their knowledge freely, then attempted to destroy us when they decided we were too dangerous to live. They underestimated humanity's will to survive. We need to prepare. We need to unite. Because make no mistake, this is just the beginning of our fight for survival, and we will show them exactly why they were right to fear us. 6 months after the Endeavour incident, Earth had transformed. The Navari betrayal accomplished what centuries of human conflict could not: true global unification. In the sprawling underground facility beneath Mount Fuji, Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood before a holographic display of salvaged Navari technology, her tired eyes reflecting the blue glow of quantum equations. The principles behind their faster-than-light drive aren't impossible, she explained to the gathered military leaders. They're just operating on a completely different framework of physics than we imagined. Her hands moved through the hologram, manipulating complex mathematical structures. We've been trying to bend space. They learned to ignore it altogether. Colonel James Reeves, the newly appointed commander of the Earth Defense Force, stepped forward. His weathered face bore the scars of countless battles, but it was his eyes that commanded attention. They burned with an intensity that matched the global mood. How long until we can replicate it? 3 months, Yuki replied without hesitation. We've already successfully tested the prototype quantum core. The Navari gave us just enough knowledge to understand their basic principles. They never expected us to advance this quickly. The briefing room erupted in murmurs. 3 months was impossible by any conventional scientific timeline. But conventional had died with the Endeavour. In the months following the attack, humanity had demonstrated an unprecedented capacity for adaptation. The threat of extinction had unleashed something primal and powerful in the human spirit. Research facilities around the globe worked around the clock, sharing discoveries and breakthroughs with an openness that would have been unthinkable a year ago. The Navari's biggest mistake, Yuki continued, was assuming we would break under pressure. Instead, they've forced us to evolve. In orbit, the first of Earth's new defensive platforms took shape. Based on designs extracted from the Endeavour's sensor logs, these stations incorporated hybrid technology, human ingenuity merged with reverse-engineered Navari concepts. Workers in zero-gravity suits swarmed over the massive structures like ants, racing against time. Down in the lunar colonies, Lieutenant Commander Kai Zhang supervised the construction of humanity's new fleet. The massive underground hangars of Mare Tranquillitatis house dozens of ships in various stages of completion. Unlike the elegant, crystalline designs of Navari vessels, these ships were built for war, angular, aggressive, and armed with weapons that could tear holes in reality itself. The Hyperion-class destroyers will be ready for trials next week, Kai reported via Quantum Comm to Earth Command. On the bridge, Nora received a priority transmission from Admiral Chen of the Shadow Fleet Command. The Admiral's hologram appeared before her, his expression stern but satisfied. Captain Rhodes, your next target is confirmed. The Nexus 7 data cores contained coordinates for something the Zexians called the Vault, a secure facility where they've been conducting genetic experiments on human hybrid children. Nora's hands clenched on her command chair. Location? Deep space, between the Orion and Perseus arms. Heavy defenses, but nothing the Thunderchild can't handle. We're sending you because of your personal connection to this mission. Nora unconsciously touched the silver markings on her neck, proof of her own hybrid heritage. Understood, Admiral. We'll get those kids out. As the Thunderchild prepared for its next jump, Marcus found himself in the ship's observation deck, staring at the stars. Lieutenant Orion joined him, now dressed in the formal black uniform of the Shadow Fleet. Having second thoughts? Orion asked. Marcus shook his head. Just trying to understand. Why wait so long? Why let us suffer for centuries? Because we needed to be ready, Orion explained. Not just militarily, but culturally. The old Earth was divided, fractured. The Zexians exploited those divisions, turned humans against each other. But their attempt to destroy us had the opposite effect, it united us like never before. He gestured to the stars. Every ship in this fleet carries crews from all of Earth's old nations, working as one. We developed technology in secret, built hidden shipyards in dimensional pockets, and most importantly, we learned patience. On the bridge, Nora reviewed the assault plans for the vault. The facility's defenses were formidable, but she had something better than superior firepower, she had surprise. The Zexians still didn't understand the full extent of human technological advancement. All hands, battle stations, she commanded. Prepare for dimensional shift. The Thunderchild's engines hummed to life, but instead of entering conventional hyperspace, the massive ship simply vanished. When it reappeared, it was inside the vault's defense perimeter, its weapons already firing. The space around the facility erupted in chaos. Zexian warships scrambled to respond, but they were fighting an enemy that could appear and disappear at will, their weapons passing harmlessly through afterimages while real shots struck with devastating precision. Deep inside the vault, alarms blared as human strike teams phased through solid walls. They found what they were looking for, hundreds of hybrid children, kept in stasis pods for genetic experimentation. Each child represented the Zexians' greatest fear, the uncontrollable evolution of humanity. As the liberation of the vault progressed, Emperor Vexthor received the news with growing dread. It wasn't just the loss of a secret facility that terrified him, it was the realization that humanity had completely outmaneuvered them. Every counter-strategy, every contingency plan the Empire had prepared was based on fighting the humans they remembered from 3 centuries ago. But that humanity was gone, transformed by adversity into something far more dangerous. They didn't just want victory, they wanted to completely dismantle the system that had enslaved their people. And as the Shadow Fleet continued its advance, unstoppable and precise, the Emperor finally understood what his ancestors had failed to grasp: they hadn't broken humanity's spirit with their attacks. They had forged it into a weapon that would now tear their empire apart. The liberation of the Vault had shattered the Zexian Empire's illusion of invulnerability, but it also revealed a truth that chilled even the hardened veterans of Earth's Shadow Fleet. Within the facility's secure databases, they discovered the true purpose behind the Empire's obsession with human hybrids. Captain Nora Rhodes stood in the Thunderchild's secure briefing room, surrounded by holographic displays showing genetic sequences. The rescued hybrid children slept safely in the medical bay, but their DNA told a story that made her blood boil. They weren't just experimenting on us, Dr. Raj Patel explained, highlighting specific genetic markers. They were trying to weaponize human adaptability. Every hybrid child in those pods showed signs of accelerated evolution. Marcus Jensen, now wearing the black uniform of a Shadow Fleet consultant, studied the displays with growing horror. The overseers always said we were dangerous. That our bloodlines were unstable. Unstable? Raj laughed bitterly. No. What they found terrifying was how stable these combinations were. Human DNA doesn't just accept alien genetic markers, it enhances them. Before they could discuss further, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Commander Hawthorne's voice crackled over the intercom, "Captain, to the bridge. We're picking up distress signals from multiple sectors." On the bridge, Nora found her crew already at battle stations. The tactical display showed dozens of red dots appearing across known space, slave revolts breaking out on countless worlds as news of the human fleet's return spread. "The Zexians are responding with extreme force," Hawthorne reported grimly. "They're bombing their own colonies rather than risk losing them." Nora's silver markings pulsed with anger. "Deploy the fleet. Priority to colonies with confirmed hybrid populations. And get me a channel to Admiral Chen." The Admiral's hologram appeared, his expression grave. "You've seen the reports?" "Yes, sir." "Request permission to implement Protocol Omega." There was a pause. Protocol Omega was their most closely guarded weapon, technological superiority pushed to its absolute limit. Chen nodded slowly. "Granted. Show them what humanity has become." Throughout the ship, hidden systems activated. The Thunderchild's hull began to shimmer, quantum fields twisting reality itself. Similar transformations occurred across the entire Shadow Fleet as humanity revealed its ultimate achievement. The ships didn't just vanish into dimensional pockets anymore, they began to split reality itself, existing in multiple spaces simultaneously. A single human vessel could now engage dozens of targets across vast distances, linked through quantum entanglement. In the Zeshian Imperial Palace, Emperor Vexthor watched in disbelief as his empire's military advantage crumbled. The same human ships appeared to be everywhere at once, striking with impossible coordination. "What manner of demons have they become?" he hissed. High General Skith, her scales pale with fear, could only shake her head. "They evolved beyond our comprehension. All those centuries we thought we were containing them. We were giving them time to surpass us," Vexthor finished. On a mining world designated XO-9, Lieutenant Dex Orion led a ground assault that demonstrated humanity's new capabilities. His strike team phased through solid matter, their quantum-enhanced armor allowing them to ignore conventional physics. They moved like ghosts through Zeshian defenses, freeing slaves and neutralizing overseers with surgical precision. Among the rescued was an elderly Lemurian scholar named Voss, his crystalline skin cracked from years of abuse. As Orion helped him to safety, Voss grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "You don't understand," the scholar wheezed. "The Zexians, their fear of humans goes deeper than you know. There are ruins, ancient sites that speak of." Before he could finish, the ground shook violently. The Zexians had activated their scorched earth protocols, preferring to destroy the planet rather than lose it. "Everyone to the extraction points," Orion commanded. "Movement in quantum shift, now." His team and the rescued slaves shifted between dimensions, avoiding the spreading destruction. As they materialized safely aboard waiting ships, Voss tried again to speak, but fell unconscious from the strain. Back on the Thunderchild, Marcus found himself working alongside Dr. Patel, helping to process and care for the constant stream of rescued slaves. Among them, he noticed a pattern: many bore markings or modifications similar to those found in the vault. They were doing it everywhere, he realized. Every colony, every mining world, they were all part of the same experiment. Dr. Patel nodded grimly. "And now we know why. Human hybrid DNA shows signs of what we're calling quantum resonance, the ability to naturally interact with multiple dimensions. The Zexians didn't just fear our adaptability, they feared what we might become." In her quarters, Captain Rhodes reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Zeshian Empire was fracturing, its hold on power slipping as more colonies rebelled. But something about their desperate tactics suggested they were hiding an even darker secret. She called up the scanned data from the vault again, focusing on certain genetic markers that didn't make sense. The modifications weren't just about control or weaponization, they seemed designed to suppress something that already existed in human DNA. Computer, cross-reference these sequences with the ancient human genome database, she commanded. The results made her sit up straight. The markers weren't new at all, they were millions of years old, dormant genes that had always been part of human DNA. The Zexians hadn't been trying to create something new, they had been desperately trying to prevent something ancient from awakening. Without their flagship's coordination, the remaining Navari ships began to retreat. Their perfect formations dissolved into chaos as they attempted to escape the quantum disruption fields. Many didn't make it. Those that did carried with them a message that would shake the foundations of their civilization: humanity was no longer prey. In the battle's aftermath, Rodriguez stood on the Prometheus's observation deck, watching as recovery teams secured captured Navari vessels. Earth had lost ships and lives in the battle, but the victories far outweighed the losses. More importantly, they had shattered the myth of Navari invincibility. "Send word to Earth," he commanded. Operation Thunderbolt successful. The Navari fleet has been decimated. But this is just the beginning. On Earth, in the Himalayan Command Center, General Rhodes received the news with grim satisfaction. "Prepare the next phase," she ordered her staff. "The Navari thought they could judge us, contain us, destroy us. Now they'll learn what happens when you push humanity too far." As the quantum sensors tracked the retreating Navari ships, Dr. Matsuda made a final entry in his research log: "Today marks not just a military victory, but a fundamental shift in the balance of power. The Navari's greatest mistake wasn't attacking us, it was showing us what was possible. They created their own worst nightmare, and we're just getting started." Colonel Dante Torres watched the holographic display as his stealth vessel, the Shadow Broker, approached the massive Navari archive world. The planet's surface was covered in towering crystalline spires that stretched into the upper atmosphere, each containing millennia of alien knowledge. "Quantum signature masked," reported Lieutenant Kira Patel, her fingers dancing over the control interface. "Their sensors are reading us as background radiation." The Shadow Broker represented humanity's greatest achievement in stealth technology. Its hull absorbed both light and quantum emissions, while its revolutionary propulsion system left no trace in spacetime. The perfect vessel for Operation Oracle, humanity's boldest intelligence mission yet. Torres's team had been chosen for their unique abilities. Dr. Zara Singh, Earth's leading expert in Navari technology. Captain Miguel Ortiz, whose experience with quantum combat made him practically a ghost. And most crucially, Dr. Hannah Reed, a prodigy in xenolinguistics who had decoded patterns in Navari communication that even they didn't know existed. "Remember," Torres addressed his team, "we're not here for revenge. We need answers. The Navari aren't just afraid of us, they're terrified. And we need to know why." The mission had been months in planning. After humanity's devastating counterattack, the Navari had withdrawn to their core systems, their behavior suggesting not just military defeat but profound psychological shock. Intelligence suggested that this archive world, Nexus 7, contained historical records that might explain their deep-seated fear of humanity's potential. As the Shadow Broker settled into a low orbit, Torres activated his quantum combat suit. The technology had advanced significantly since its first deployment. Now it allowed operators to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making them virtually undetectable. "Insertion in 3 minutes, Patel announced. "Quantum corridor stable." The team gathered in the transportation chamber. Their suits shimmered with dark energy, absorbing all light. Dr. Singh carried specialized quantum interface devices of her own design, while Dr. Reed clutched a compact neural processor that could translate Navari data streams in real time. "Remember," Torres said finally, "if anything goes wrong, the mission takes priority. The knowledge in this facility could change everything." The quantum transport was unlike anything humans had experienced before the war. Their consciousness seemed to split across multiple realities before reforming inside one of the crystal spires. They emerged in perfect silence, their suits automatically adapting to the local quantum field. "This architecture," Dr. Singh whispered through their secure comm channel, "it's not just for storage. These crystals are thinking. The entire planet is one massive quantum computer." They moved through crystalline corridors that hummed with data streams. Occasional Navari passed by, their prismatic forms oblivious to the human infiltrators walking among them. Dr. Reed's neural processor worked overtime, translating the constant flow of information surrounding them. "This way," she indicated, following a particularly dense data stream. "There's something different about this pattern. Older. More heavily encrypted." The team followed her lead to a sealed chamber deep within the spire. While Captain Ortiz maintained a quantum disruption field to mask their presence, Dr. Singh interfaced with the security systems. The doors dissolved, revealing a vast hexagonal room filled with swirling holographic displays. "By all the stars," Dr. Reed breathed as her translator began processing the ancient records. "This isn't just their history. This is their prophecy." The data streams coalesced into images that told a story spanning millennia. The Navari, it seemed, had not always been crystalline beings. They had evolved, or rather, engineered themselves, into their current form in response to a catastrophic war that had nearly destroyed their civilization eons ago. They fought against a species that could adapt and evolve at an unprecedented rate, Reed translated, her voice growing more astonished with each revelation. A species that turned their own technology against them in ways they never imagined possible. They won, barely, but the experience traumatized their entire civilization. Torres watched the historical records with growing understanding. They didn't fear what we are, he realized. They feared what we reminded them of. But there was more. The final records revealed a prophecy, encoded in the quantum structure of spacetime itself. It spoke of another species that would arise, one with the same capacity for rapid adaptation and creative warfare. The prophecy warned that this species would either bring about a new golden age of galactic civilization, or trigger its final destruction. "That's why they attacked us," Dr. Singh said softly. "We're not just some potential threat. We're the fulfillment of their most ancient prophecy." A sudden alarm shattered their revelation. "Multiple quantum signatures approaching," Ortiz reported. "They've detected our intrusion." "Download everything," Torres ordered as he readied his quantum weapon. "Earth needs to know." The wall behind them dissolved, revealing a contingent of Navari warriors. But instead of attacking, the crystalline beings stood in formation, their faceted eyes fixed on the humans. Then, to everyone's shock, they knelt. "The prophecy speaks true," their leader said in perfect English. "You have found your way to the heart of our knowledge, just as it was foretold. The time of choice is upon us." Torres kept his weapon ready but opened a channel to the shadow broker. "Command, are you getting this?" "Affirmative," Patel's voice came through. "And Colonel, we're detecting similar behavior across the entire planet. Every Navari in the archive has stopped what they're doing. They're all facing in your direction." As crystal spires hummed with ancient power, Torres realized that Operation Oracle had become something far more significant than an intelligence mission. They had just triggered a paradigm shift in a civilization spanning galaxies. The Navari leader rose, its crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. "We must speak with your leaders," it said. "The prophecy offers two paths forward. Which one we take, that will depend on what happens in the next few moments." Torres looked at his team, then back at the ancient records still swirling around them. They had come seeking answers about their enemies. Instead, they had found a crossroads that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. "Shadow Broker," he commanded, "inform Earth Command. Tell them we're about to have a very interesting diplomatic conversation." The grand chamber of the Nexus Citadel hummed with tension. Representatives from Earth stood before the assembled Navari High Council, the crystalline walls reflecting countless facets of both species. Admiral Rodriguez, General Rhodes, and Colonel Torres led the human delegation, while Dr. Reed stood ready to ensure perfect translation. High Sovereign Xilax, their crystalline form shifting through colors of deep purple and gold, addressed the chamber. For 10,000 years, our civilization has dreaded this moment. We thought we could prevent it by striking first. We were wrong. The chamber's quantum displays activated, showing the ancient prophecy in all its complexity. The mathematical patterns within its structure were both beautiful and terrifying, a warning written into the fabric of spacetime itself. Your arrival was predicted, Xilax continued, not just as a species, but as a force of change. The prophecy speaks of a race that would emerge from a blue world, who would take our gifts of knowledge and transform them into power we could not comprehend. Sound familiar? General Rhodes stepped forward, her voice firm. You tried to destroy us because of a prophecy? We tried to destroy you because we had seen this pattern before, another council member spoke, their form rippling with shades of deep red. Eons ago, we fought a species much like yours. Creative. Adaptive. Unpredictable. The war nearly destroyed the galaxy. Dr. Matsuda, watching from Earth via quantum projection, suddenly understood. That's why you transformed yourselves, isn't it? You became crystalline beings to achieve perfect order, to eliminate the chaos that nearly destroyed you. Yes, Xilax acknowledged. We remade ourselves, wrote our laws into the very structure of our bodies. We thought we had found the perfect path, controlled evolution, predictable progress. Then we found you. The quantum displays shifted, showing footage from the recent battles. Human ships performing maneuvers that defied physics, quantum warriors phasing through solid matter, technology that had evolved far beyond its original Navari inspiration. In 2 years, Xilax observed, you achieved what took us centuries. You took our basic principles and transformed them in ways we never imagined possible. Just as the prophecy foretold. Admiral Rodriguez's eyes narrowed. And now? Are we to fight until one of us is destroyed? No, Xilax's form shifted to a brilliant white. The prophecy offers another path. A convergence. The mathematical patterns suggest that our peoples together could achieve something unprecedented, a perfect balance between order and chaos, stability and innovation. Dr. Reed's translator hummed as she processed the complex quantum language underlying Xilax's words. They're not just talking about peace, she realized. They're talking about evolution itself. The chamber's displays exploded with possibilities, mathematical models showing the potential future of both species. The Navari's perfect order combined with humanity's creative chaos could unlock secrets of the universe neither species could discover alone. But there is risk, Xilax warned. The prophecy shows 2 paths. In one, our combined potential ushers in an age of wonders. In the other, we tear reality itself apart. The choice of which path to take belongs to humanity. General Rhodes straightened. You tried to destroy us. Why should we trust you now? Because you've already proven the prophecy true, another council member spoke. You could have used our technology purely for destruction. Instead, you've already begun transforming it into something new. Your quantum drives don't just copy our designs, they improve upon them. Your combat techniques don't just adapt to our defenses, they transcend them. Colonel Torres stepped forward, remembering the kneeling Navari warriors in the archive. You're not just afraid of us anymore. You're in awe of us. Yes, Xilax admitted. In trying to prevent the prophecy, we ensured its fulfillment. The question now is, which version of it will come to pass? Dr. Matsuda's quantum projection flickered as he studied the mathematical models. These possibilities, they're beyond anything we've imagined. Either outcome would change the fundamental nature of both our species. Admiral Rodriguez looked at his fellow leaders, then back at the Navari Council. You offer partnership now, after everything? We offer evolution, Xylax corrected. Your chaos, our order. Your creativity, our stability. Together, we could become something entirely new. The prophecy doesn't just predict this possibility, it weaves it into the quantum fabric of the universe itself. The human leaders conferred quietly. The choice before them was momentous: continue the war with their newfound power, possibly destroying both civilizations, or embrace an uncertain transformation that could redefine what it meant to be human or Navari. Finally, General Rhodes spoke for humanity. We'll need guarantees. Proofs. Trust needs to be earned. Of course, Xylax agreed. But consider this: in just 2 years, you've shown us possibilities we never imagined in 10,000 years of existence. Imagine what we could accomplish together in a century. A millennium. The chamber's quantum field rippled as both species felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about ending a war, it was about choosing the future of all sentient life in the galaxy. Admiral Rodriguez stepped forward. We choose evolution, he declared. Not because of your prophecy, but because that's what humanity has always done. We adapt. We grow. We become more than we were. If you're ready to do the same, then perhaps the prophecy was never about war or peace at all. It was about transformation. Xylax's crystalline form blazed with light. Then let us begin. Not as enemies, not even as allies, but as catalysts for something entirely new in the cosmos. As the quantum displays filled with swirling possibilities, Dr. Reed's translator captured the ancient prophetic words that had started everything: when order meets chaos, when crystal meets spirit, the universe itself will hold its breath, waiting to see what wonders or horrors will emerge from the fusion of the unchanging and the ever-changing. The age of conflict was ending. The age of transformation was about to begin.